What's up, guys? I'm Crystal Lee Naomi, aka Jasmine Borders on Tyler Perry's Sisters. Be sure to subscribe to the Haves and the Have-Nots review for not only reviews on the Haves and the Have-Nots, but also on Sisters. And while you're at it, give your girl a follow on Instagram at Crystal Lee Naomi. And I'll see you every Wednesday at 9, only on BET.
All right, Tyler Perry fans, this is a dual video. I'm going to be talking about The Oval and Sisters. This is kind of like a answering the question people always ask me, Jeremy, which show, which show do you think had the best season one? Now, keep in mind that this video is strictly opinion, so I'm not going to base the best season on ratings or things of that nature, things that the critics use to rate the shows. I'm not even going to look at like Rotten Tomatoes or any other sort of rating website to say, oh well, this season got a higher percentage than this one, so it's obviously the better show. No, I actually divided it into, let me see here, for 8 different categories: cast, pacing, acting, cliffhangers, the season finale, the season premiere, the relatability. That's really like, when I'm watching a show, which one do I feel resonates more with me and which one do I feel is like a bit more realistic, and then like the theme song. So that's really what I'm going to be looking at here. So before going any further, make sure you like the video, comment your thoughts on which show that you feel had the better season one and why. Hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss out whenever I post new content. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. It was several hours ago I posted a poll on the YouTube community tab. And I asked the question, let me double check. Which series had the better season one? Yeah, this was 12 hours ago. There were almost 300 votes, and 77% was The Oval and 23% was Sistas. Now, the argument could be made that since The Oval was the more recent season finale, that's the one that resonates in people's minds. Not to mention, yeah, it's been about a week since the show went off, so obviously more people would be reeling from that finale than the Sisters finale, which was a couple of months ago, I believe. But let me just break it down here. Comparing The Oval and Sisters is kind of like, okay, who's the better who's the better artist, Beyonce or Michael Jackson? The thing about it is, both shows, it's difficult to compare them because they're different entities. For example, like let's say I was doing this whole comparison thing when Tyler Perry first started out on the OWN network. I would be asking the question, all right guys, season one is over, which show is better, The Haves and the Have-Nots or Love Thy Neighbor? Obviously one show is geared towards drama and the other show is geared towards comedy. So comparing the two wouldn't really be fair because they aren't trying to be the same thing. Now, I remember when the shows were first announced, The Oval obviously seemed to be the haves and the have-nots for the Viacom networks, while Sisters was geared to being like a comedy. But then as time went on, it became like a romantic comedy series, and then it became a label as a dramedy, which, drama and comedy fused together. So just keep that in mind, because I don't want people to instantly comment as soon as they click on this video, man, you can't compare the two, they're two different. Well, I just gave my disclaimer and we're going to go into the categories here. Now, just because my personal choice is one show over the other, that doesn't mean that both are not good. I feel like they're both good in their own respects, but I feel like neither series is perfect. That's for sure. I don't think either of these series is perfect. And plus, it's only season one because, at that point, the cast and Tyler are trying to find the characters, find the route they want to take for their series. And hopefully season two will improve upon the things that personally, I feel like weren't the strong points. So with that being said, let's go into category number one, the cast. I think that the cast, I think that I want to give this one to Sisters because of the fact that with a smaller cast, they have a better advantage when it comes to allowing us to get to know the characters. Because I think the most damning thing about The Oval is there are just way too many characters. And I stated this in live streams and videos over the past couple weeks where the Oval does have some great characters, but the problem is you have like 50 characters, and we don't, even though we've had, each show has 25 episodes in their season ones. Even though there are 25 episodes of the Oval, there are still characters who I feel like I don't even know. So when people ask me all the time, who's your favorite character on the Oval? It's difficult to even answer that question because, I mean, there are just so many characters that even though I feel like we know a little bit about them, I don't feel like we know enough about them. Like, Victoria has been Veronica 2.0, and I feel like, okay, I'm kind of dipping into category number 2 pacing, but I feel like Tyler Perry just kind of went out of the gate with the Oval, making it so Victoria was the Veronica Harrington. It's like, oh, Veronica's the star character that everybody loves to hate on the haves and have-nots, so let me make a new version of her on the Oval from the get-go. But the problem with that is, when you make a character so irredeemably evil, conniving, and unlikable, it's hard to relate. However, the thing about it is, Tyler Perry did give us a full backstory on Victoria in like episode 7, The Dark Sheep. So unlike Veronica, we have a grasp on who Victoria is as a person, why she is the way she is. We even got to meet her mother early on, which was a great thing. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, looking at Sistas, Andy, Danny, Karen, Sabrina. And then from there, you got the branch off characters like Maurice, Calvin, Zach, Gary, Jasmine, Fawn, her brother, her mother. Then you have Karen's mother. You have Andy's boss. And, we have a sizable cast on Sistas, but not too many where it gets redundant, where it's like, okay, we have all these characters. But the thing about it is, a lot of the characters outside of the main 4 women, they don't pop up in every single episode. And when they do pop up, it's because they're doing something that's related to the story. You know what I mean? Even Leslie, for example. So I feel like Sistas overall, they have a smaller cast, but what's that saying? Less is more. But when you look at the Oval, you have Richard's family. Then from there you have Ruth and Callie. Then you have Kareem and Sharon. Then you go over to Sam and Priscilla, but that also includes other staff members like Jean, Max, Kyle, Yuma. And then you switch over to Hunter, Gail, Jason, Victoria, then Denise. And then you have, Victoria's mother, Maud, and then her father, who has yet to be seen on screen, but we know is, alive because he was on the phone. Then you have Donald and Lily and Bobby. And I just feel like overall, the fact that the Sistas cast does have less members means that we're able to really understand and get to know them on a deeper level. Sure, it was literally the Andy show for most of the first part of the season, but at the same time, when we got to see more from the other cast members, it really did allow the show to become something that felt watchable. Hang on. It made the show feel more grounded. But again, I'm dipping into the relatability category. So in my opinion, I think Sistas wins round 1 because of the fact that it has a smaller cast to work with. Number 2, the pacing. This is a tough one because I remember these 2 shows were the first shows, for whatever reason, I finally realized that, holy crap, Tyler Perry has a lot of random pauses for no reason at all. Basically, when characters are speaking, there are these weird pauses in between lines of dialogue that make no sense. I think I remember, like, this was around episode 8 or something, The Sistas, where I was watching the episode, and it was on YouTube. And I was like, okay, I gotta wait. This was at a time where I was reviewing like 5 shows at once. I'm like, okay, I don't have time to watch 40 minutes. So I did something I hadn't done in like, I don't know when, but I went to the playback speed and I put it at double the speed. And when I played the episode, a 42-minute episode at double the speed, I realized that I did not miss a single word. And even at double speed, you notice that the pauses are still there. So I found that very, very interesting. Now, the pacing itself, yeah, you're probably wondering, well, Jeremy, what does the pacing have to do with the playback speed? Because pacing typically deals with, okay, Jeremy, we're looking at season one, 25 episodes. Which show had like the best story pacing and whatnot? I. This is a tough call because both shows have their faults. Here's the thing with The Oval. Again, I know it's season one, but we had so many unanswered questions. Like, we don't know who Denise's killer is. Unless you were watching Ruthless, you would have no idea what Callie's doing. And plus, that's another thing about The Oval and Sisters in this comparison. I might reference Ruthless here and there, but that's not going to count towards The Oval in terms of points. Like, oh, because Ruthless did this with a storyline in The Oval, this gives it a point over Sisters. Nah, it's not going to work like that because it's not fair. I feel like The Oval did have good pacing, but the problem was, going back to the issue of the cast, the fact that they had such a large cast, it meant the pacing was all over the place because there are storylines that, you know, characters will just disappear for a good amount of episodes, like Bobby, Lily, and I mean, hell, we even had the hashtag Where's Gene, and there were just so many story arcs where one episode it will be brought up, and then like 6 episodes like, oh yeah, I forgot all about that. It's like when it comes to Sisters though, the pacing was good, but aside from the dramatic pauses, which The Oval was guilty of as well, I do feel like with Sisters, there were more episodes where I was kind of rolling my eyes because it's like I felt like things were just being repetitive. Like, especially the Sabrina and Calvin storyline, where Sabrina just kept asking everyone and everyone and everyone and everyone what they thought about Calvin, if he was gay and stuff like that, even though he told you about him being open-minded and everything. Then on top of that, you know, there were situations where Zach would just be trying to get back with Karen, and then things would be going well, but then a curveball would come out of nowhere. And then the Andy and Gary thing was just repetitive as well at times. So I would say, this is a tough one, because even though The Oval did have too many storylines, I would have to look at the fact that even though a storyline wasn't brought up in every single episode, I do feel like, this is okay. I would have to say, even though on my sheet I do have Sisters, I would have to say I would give this one to The Oval. Yeah, I'm changing my own vote. I'm giving The Oval pacing. All right, now we get to category 3, acting. It's a no-brainer. I'm giving it to Sisters because even though there are some good acting from some characters in The Oval, there were some characters who gave noticeably bad acting scenes. And as always, just know this is not an attack on the cast members, because look, you're doing your job, you're getting your paper, and you're working with Tyler Perry. I'm just a fan behind the microphone. It's no secret that a lot of fans don't like Barry and the acting behind it, but remember, it is season 1, so maybe in season 2 will be better. I will say this: in the recent episode, what was it, episode 23 and 24, I really like Barry. I'm like, if we had more scenes of Barry like this in season 1, I think he would have been better received by fans, because his whole stick the entire, where's my daughter? I need to find my daughter. And he was just being an asshole to everyone. But I think that in the recent episodes where we've seen this level-headed bit, even when he went up to Ruth the way he did, I thought that was pretty decent acting. So the actor is capable, but I just don't feel like he was given that ability to be that good in the early scenes, because he was doing exactly what Tyler wanted with the character. Hence why I always say it's not really the actor, I always put, at fault. But I just feel like in some roles, like Hunter, it's kind of stiff. But once again, that's his character. He's just laid back. He doesn't really care. He's coasting. But then there are scenes where I feel like he really is good. For example, like sometimes when he has these explosions of anger, sometimes they're laughable, because I think like Victoria's like, you're acting like you run things around here, but you don't. But I've seen, I believe the actor's name is Ed Quinn. he's been in a few other projects and he's a decent actor. So once again, I feel like characters like Jean are good, Priscilla could be good. And the thing is, I try not to let bias get in the way, because sometimes they'll be like, ooh, I don't like this character because they nag and they're nosy. But if they play their role well, then yeah, I commend their acting. Sam is really good. Donald, I mean, even Kyle, like the slime ball Kyle, he's incredibly good at what he does. He's like the Justin from the haves and the have-nots of the Oval. But when it comes to Sistas, I mean, just looking at the initial episodes, I think Sistas did a better job with the actors, because I feel like maybe it's the tone of the. Honestly, I don't even think I put tone as one of the categories. I'm adding a tone as category number 9, but I do feel like the acting on Sistas was superior to the Oval. And I mean, who's to say that things won't be turned around in season 2? So I got to give category 2 to Sistas. All right, now category 4, and this is what I always dub Tyler Perry. Even if an episode is whack, Tyler Perry is the king of cliffhangers. And I will say this: even though Sistas had some, I mean, yeah, this goes for both shows. Episodes that can be very boring can be very good during the last like 3 minutes, especially when you get to the cliffhanger. But I do feel in a lot of cases, not all the time, but most of the time, I could kind of predict what the cliffhanger of a Sistas episode would be, usually based on the trailer. Same thing for the Oval, where you can just look at the trailer like, yeah, this is going to be the opening scene and this one's going to be close to the end. I would say the Oval has my vote for greatest cliffhangers, because look, as crazy as episode 1 was, when you had Jasmine pop up and it now and say that she was Gary's husband at the end of episode 1, you can't top the ridiculousness of freaking cult members attacking Nancy at the end of episode 1. And that's only the first episode I'm talking about here. And there were a lot of times where the Oval had, oh my god, Lily shot Bobby, and then you had, holy crap, Richard got shot in the pharmacy, or Jean's being assaulted, then Jean's found allegedly dead, or you find Hunter with Denise's beheaded body. So the Oval wins number 4 for me. Category number 5, premieres. Easily Sistas. I mean, I don't even feel like I need to go into this, because the Oval, that first scene, I just remember that night on Twitter, because that was the night Tyler Perry retweeted me. Yeah, I remember that day. It was just so freaking, just people were turned off by that first scene. Like, I remember about a week ago, I was on a live and I'm like, man, I don't remember the Oval starting off that bad. So when I went back and looked at that scene between Hunter and Victoria and how badly choreographed and filmed that fight was, oh boy. Yeah, but Sistas, on the other hand, I mean, I think the first scene was Gary and Andy. It was a birthday. She had a cupcake. And then on top of that, we saw how badass Andy was, when she walked into the law firm, and then she won that divorce for her client to take like a few million more and the house than what she expected. And you really got a grasp of who Andy was. And yeah, I know Andy is the main focus of my dialogue, but that's because her character really came off as the strongest. And I do feel like when you look at the Oval, I feel like the most damning thing was the fact that all the promotional stuff was like, oh, the first family, and yeah, we would have Richard and a couple other cast members here and there in interviews, but it was all about, the first family, but we never saw the first family together in that first episode. And I think it was only maybe 2 or 3 times, if that, in season 1, where we saw all 4 family members together. It reminded me of the new Batman Adventures. The animated series like season 4, where you had Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, and Batman. It was only a couple of times where all 4 members were in the same episode together. So I feel like the fact that the Oval just spent way too much time at Nancy's house, and then it just spent too much time with Richard, and basically everybody except for the first family, I think that Sistas overall had the strongest premiere. Now we switch gears to the finale, and kind of interestingly enough, with both shows, I felt like episode 24 was better than episode 25. But I will say this much. I think that I will give this to the Oval just because of the fact that it did have a lot of shock value to it. And plus, the mic drop moment from Diane was epic. Sisters had a very, oh my god, finale, but it just came the hell out of nowhere. Yes, we knew things were kind of dirty because Leslie was telling Andy about all this research she did and the fact that Gary, Morris and, Morris and Jasmine have been plotting for so long and this and that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, season 2 has a lot of explaining to do. It's like you got the freaking SWAT team and FBI coming and they just take Gary and Andy has to walk, and it's like, what? Not to mention, when you think about it, the ridiculousness of like giving away her account information and everything like that, that just seems so out of character. So I feel like the Oval did bring the house down with that finale. So I'll give the finale to the Oval. Then we go over to theme song. This is a tough one because obviously the Oval theme song is longer because, well, you have so many damn characters to show on screen. Not to mention there are a lot of characters who aren't even in the theme song despite being in a lot of episodes. Sistas is like a catchy little jingle that's about what, 10 or 12 seconds. So, I love the background music of the Oval though. It was like doom. Feels like we're running out of time versus my girls hold me down. They definitely set the tone for their respective series. I will say that. But I would have to give the theme song opening to the Oval just because the visuals that go along with it are so damn good. But again, I love the Sisters theme song as well. But Ruthless, it has the best theme song. For real. All right, we're down to, we got 2 more categories. The tone of the show. I think tone and relatability kind of go hand in hand here. I feel like the tone of the Oval is the fact that it tries to be serious and dramatic, but at times I feel like it falls on its face because most of the time, kind of going back to the acting and the pacing categories, there have been a lot of times in the Oval where characters are extremely over the top, they're rude, they're just unlikable, and it just doesn't feel believable. Yes, there are people like that in the real world, but the characters in the Oval, it's like it becomes silly when they become way too over the top. Like, I'll never forget, I love the trigger we found out about Victoria. Like, apparently she doesn't like criticism or what people think about her because I think Hunter said, oh yeah, I know you made it a point to have like the staff like keep away any sort of bad tweets or anything online about you because people hate you. And I remember like that being a hot button, and every time Hunter would touch upon that, Victoria would just go into a frenzy. And just when she was like so blinded by rage that she ran into the door and knocked herself out, I was like, what the hell am I watching? So I feel like Sisters, it like I mentioned in the finale category, it just felt so ridiculous. Like, with the SWAT team and everything getting Gary and whatnot, and I just feel like the tone was kind of all over the place. But I feel like Sisters being a dramedy, it actually fits the bill more in terms of being the kind of show that it was promoted as. So I would say Sisters wins the category for tone. And then we get to the final round, relatability. Yeah, honestly, I should have just did 10 categories, but I feel like 9 is enough. Sisters wins because I feel like that show, I remember when the show was before it even came on, I always remember feeling so nervous about, okay, what can I say about this series? I'm a guy watching a female focused show like Girlfriends of Living Single. What is it I can say? But after watching the first few episodes, I'm like, yo, as a guy, I'm seeing things kind of like from the female perspective, even though it's technically a male who's writing it, Tyler Perry. But at the same time, I see things where, hey, it's like not all guys are trash. Sometimes women do trash things as well. Both parties put up with stuff that they honestly shouldn't just for the sake of being in a relationship with someone. And I feel like it's more real. Sure, things get ridiculous from time to time, but The Oval is a show that isn't about, as Tyler Perry said, it's not about the politics. It's about the people who live inside the White House. However, there are just a lot of things in the show that I feel like, okay, number one, I can't relate to it, and number two, this just is just so unbelievable. So I would say Sister wins the category. So looking at the votes here, it's actually very close. The Oval scored 4 and Sisters scored 5, so a total of 9 points. Sisters wins by one category. Honestly, if I didn't add in a tone category, this would have been a tie. So Sisters edges it out, and I would say that overall, season 1 of Sisters was better than the Oval. Now you could make the argument, well, Jeremy, weren't there like 4 episodes of Sisters you didn't watch? Yes, I think it was like episodes 13 to 17 or 16, because at that point my videos weren't doing that well. So I was like, I can't focus on this show when there are other shows for me to review. So I focused on the Oval instead, because there were people who were literally saying, hey, yo, man, I don't watch Sisters, but I watch your videos to support you because I just can't get into the show. But at the same time, it's the category of the Oval. Yeah, I watched every episode because those videos were getting decent views. But I think if we want to talk ratings, of course, Oval was better than Sisters. However, Sisters had the damning position of being at the 10 o'clock slot. And to be honest, like, I'll never forget, like, going back to the cliffhanger categories where I gave Oval the win. I mean, sure, you had epic moments. Like, I didn't see Jasmine being thrown off the garage like that. But at the same time, it's one of those situations where the Oval would give us like this WTF moment, and then next thing you know, previously on Sisters, no, I can't watch this show because the Oval just dropped this bomb on me. I can't watch it. So when Sisters got moved to the 9 o'clock slot, it did better rating wise. So that's why I feel like, even though there are talks of Sisters coming back in October and possibly the Oval as well, I don't think Viacom would put both shows on at the same time, because I think that it's been shown that they work better when they're at the 9 o'clock slot. Not to mention, it would help them not to burn through so many episodes at one time. So overall, in my opinion, I think that Sisters was the superior season 1. But who's to say season 2 won't turn things around? Maybe the Oval will win and beat the crap out of Sisters, or Sisters will remain number 1 to me. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal, Cash App, or join Patreon for as little as $1 a month.